17 hours, Strait of Hormuz. The pre-dawn air above the strait hangs still and absolute, broken only by the low rhythmic pulse of the USS Abraham Lincoln's island superstructure, cutting through a black Arabian Sea. Then the threat board erupted. At 5 hours, 17 minutes and 42 seconds hours, the E-2D Hawkeye calcined Patriot 01, orbiting at 22,000 feet above the southern Gulf, detected 6 high-speed contacts departing Bandar Abbas Air Base on a direct intercept heading. The targets bore 247 degrees true, closing fast on 2 F-22 Raptors holding Combat Air Patrol Station 80 nautical miles to the southwest. Identification came within 19 seconds. Iranian Su-35 flankery aircraft newly delivered from Russian inventory. The most capable airframes in Tehran's arsenal. Climb rate. Aggressive altitude. 35,000 feet and rising. Speed. Mach 1.4. Sensor emissions. Active oversea fire control radar. Locked and searching. Aboard the Abraham Lincoln, the tactical action officer had exactly 4 minutes to act out at 5:19 hours. Commander Air Wing 9 transmitted a single instruction. Raptor flight. Weapons free. Prosecute. The 2 F-22 Raptors calcines Raptor 11 and Raptor 12 had been invisible to Iranian radar for the preceding 23 minutes. That invisibility was now a weapon in itself. Raptor 11 rolled inverted at 41,000 feet, pulled its nose through the horizon, and settled into a firing solution. The internal weapons bay doors opened for precisely 0.8 seconds, enough time to eject 2 AIM-120 DAM or AMIs into the slipstream. Bay doors closed. The aircraft's radar cross-section returned to the equivalent of a steel marble suspended in open sky. The missiles were already screaming northwest at Mach 4, guided by data link from Patriot 01 and the Raptor's own an APG-77. Active electronically scanned array radar, a radar that Su-35 pilots could not detect. Engagement range, 68 nautical miles. Time to impact, 44 seconds, at 5 hours 19 minutes and 47 seconds hours. The first AMRAAM detonated against the lead Su-35 at 33,800 feet. The proximity fuse fired. The blast radius consumed the cockpit and port engine simultaneously. The aircraft ceased to exist as a coherent structure within 0.3 seconds of detonation. Raptor 12 fired 2 additional AMRAAMs 6 seconds later, targeting Su-35 designations, Bandit 2 and Bandit 3 in a staggered sequence, calculated to deny mutual defensive support. 2 more kills. No Iranian radar had achieved a single track on either F-22. At 5:21 hours. The 3 surviving Su-35 pilots broke formation under extreme defensive maneuvering. Bandit 4 and Bandit 5 rolled east, pulling HE defensive turns toward the Iranian coastline. The third, designated Bandit 3 by Patriot 01, held course. He fired 4 R-77 beyond visual range missiles in a spread pattern and attempted to saturate the battlespace. The R-77s screamed northwest at Mach 2.5. Their active radar seekers hunting for heat sources and radar returns that simply did not exist. Raptor 11 notched the missiles with surgical precision. Raptor 12 close to 1.2 nautical miles from Bandit 3's 6 o'clock position and released a single AIM-9X Sidewinder into the Iranian aircraft's left engine bay. The detonation shattered the airframe at 29,000 feet. 3 primary pieces of wreckage descended across a 4 nautical mile debris corridor east of the Straits Sea entirely. At 5:23 hours, an entirely separate threat vector materialized from the surface. 12 IRGC Bughammer fast attack vessels had sorted from Shahid Rajah, poured under cover of the aerial engagement, using the electronic noise of the Su-35's radar emissions as concealment. They moved at 42 knots, bearing 310 degrees true, ranged 38 nautical miles from the Abraham Lincoln's outer defense perimeter. Each vessel carried deck-mounted rocket launchers and anti-ship torpedoes. Their purpose required no interpretation. The USS Strait, DDG-104, an Arleigh-Burke-class guided missile destroyer positioned on the Lincoln's northern flank, acquired all 12 contacts simultaneously on its SPY-1D phased array radar. The combat management system computed firing solutions in 11 seconds. Commanding Officer Captain Reyes authorized launch. At 5:24 hours. 8 RGM, 8 for Harpoon anti-ship missiles, left Strait's deck launches in a single ripple sequence. 8 separate vectors, 8 separate targets. Simultaneously, the destroyer's forward Mk-41 vertical launch system committed for RIM-66 standard SM-2 Missiles against Iranian shore-based radar installations identified as providing active targeting, data to the advancing boat formation. Missiles away. Time to first surface impact. 3 minutes, 12 seconds, at 5:25 hours. 40 nautical miles to the north. MH-60 or Seahawk Calcine Wardog 71 released a single Mark 54 lightweight torpedo 800 meters ahead of the lead Boghammer element. The weapons on board. Sonar processor acquired the acoustic signature of the vessel's twin outboard motors and guided a detonation autonomously. Zero operator input required after release. The first Iranian boat ceased to exist at 5 hours 25 minutes and 38 seconds hours. At 5:27 hours. The Harpoon strike package arrived on target in a 4-second window. For Boghammer vessels obliterated in rapid sequence. Each detonation consuming 800 kilograms of Iranian face attack capability in a single thermodynamic event. Debris fields overlapped. Fire spread across the surface. 6 remaining boats reversed course toward the Iranian coastline at maximum throttle 2. Did not reverse. The Phalanx CIWS aboard. USS Strait acquired them at 4,200 meters range and bearing computed threat. Classification confirmed. Engagement authorized by the system itself. 20mm tungsten penetrator rounds at 4,500 rounds per minute. 8 seconds. Both vessels rendered structurally non-functional before they closed to 3,800 meters at 5:28 hours. A fourth dimension of the engagement, executed entirely without Iranian awareness. 2 MH-60 or Seahawks, skimming at 40 feet above the water. A 6-man element of SEAL Team 6 Gold Squadron Dev grew onto a limestone promontory 3.4 kilometers south of Bandari Length. The objective: 1 Iranian anti-PS equivalent, coastal surveillance radar installation. The primary sensor node, providing real-time maritime targeting data to the IRGC Naval Component Command. Throughout the engagement, the operators moved 400 meters under complete electromagnetic silence. No communications, no active sensors. They reached the installation perimeter at 5:31 hours. 12 seconds later, the installation ceased to transmit. At 5:32 hours, Bandit 4 and Bandit 5 received nothing from their ground stations. Radar warning receivers screamed false data. No targeting picture. No friendly data link. They turned for home at full military power. Raptor 11 tracked both aircraft to the Iranian coastline and achieved a clean firing solution on Bandit 5 at 5 hours, 33 minutes and 11 seconds. Hours. The F-22 held its fire. Bandit 5 crossed into Iranian airspace. Raptor 11 banked northeast. Weapons safe. The decision was deliberate, documented, and surgical in its restraint. At 5 hours, 34 minutes and 22 seconds, hours to 17 minutes and 22 seconds, after initial radar contact, the tactical action officer aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln recorded the engagement complete. 6 Iranian Su-35s engaged. 4 destroyed, 2 retreated. 12 Boghammer fast attack craft engaged. 8 destroyed, 2 neutralized by CIWS, 2 retreated. 1 Iranian coastal radar installation neutralized by direct action. 0 U.S. aircraft lost. 0 U.S. warships damaged. 0 U.S. personnel casualties. The airspace above the Strait of Hormuz was clear of Iranian aircraft for the first time in 14 consecutive days. 17 minutes after initial contact. Silence. Search and rescue assets from the Abraham Lincoln's air wing reached the Su-35 debris fields at 5:41 hours. No Iranian pilot survivors were recovered. The burning hulks of 4 Boghammer vessels marked a debris line across the northern Gulf, visible by satellite imagery for the following 3 days. Full damage assessment across the Lincoln carrier. Strike group confirmed 0 battle damage to any U.S. naval asset. The SEAL Team 6 element extracted at 5:48 hours, returning to their primary support vessel undetected, without a single shot fired. Iranian state media announced a successful defensive exercise at 6:15 hours. No regional intelligence asset corroborated the claim. The Strait of Hormuz reopened to international commercial transit at 5:52 hours, 35 minutes after the first contact. The tactical lessons were immediate and unambiguous. Iran's Russian-supplied Su-35 flankery fleet, a capability acquisition years in development, had been neutralized within the opening 14 minutes of its first contested engagement. With 5th-generation American air power, the Urbusi radar system, engineered to detect conventional aircraft at 350 kilometers, had detected nothing. The F-22 Raptors radar cross-section, measured in fractions of a square meter, had rendered Iran's most advanced airborne system operationally blind before a single Iranian missile achieved a valid track. Strategic ramifications cascaded through Tehran's defense establishment within hours. The Revolutionary Guard's air commanders understood the precise scope of what had occurred. 4 of their most modern fighters destroyed by an adversary they never detected, never tracked, and never had the opportunity to engage. The psychological weight of that asymmetry carried consequences far beyond the engagement itself. This engagement fundamentally reshaped Iran's calculus for operations in the Strait of Hormuz. The simultaneous, layered neutralization of airborne threats, surface threats, and coastal intelligence infrastructure, achieved without a single tomahawk strike, without a declared act of war, without a single observable escalatory gesture, demonstrated a response doctrine that operated fluidly across air, surface, subsurface, and special operations domains, in a single 17-minute window. The message required no translation. It required no press conference. It required no follow-up. 17 minutes and 22 seconds. 4 Su-35s destroyed. 8 fast attack vessels sunk. 1 radar installation neutralized. 0 American casualties. The response was not angry. It was architectural, precise, pre-planned, and delivered without hesitation. The Strait of Hormuz remains open not through negotiation, not through restraint, but through demonstrated, layered, 5th-generation dominance. The battlespace spoke. The Persian Gulf answered with silence.